Hey, what's up everybody? I'm down on Avenue A, going into Brooklyn now. It's one of those days, rainy day. Not too happy about it. But we get these days in New York, rainy days. I might stop and check the weather just to see how bad it's going to be, because if it's going to be really bad, I don't think I'm going to continue on my way. I might cancel my trip to Brooklyn. I'm not looking forward to getting wet. Yeah, I was doing a video before talking about features on a bike and what I would want, and I think the drz400, the KLR, the XR650, they all kind of ran their course, and I've been seeing some moto vloggers bringing up some valid points that, you know, for the money, the new KLR though definitely has all the features you want. Anti-lock brakes, fuel gauge, fuel injection, all the things. But I wonder how much longer Suzuki and Honda can continue with the XR650, which I have one, you know, that I use in the summertime. How much longer can they run that bike? And the KLR, the KLR had to be updated. That's why it ran its course, you know, because it was a great deal for the money. But now Triumph's got some new bikes out that, you know, have a lot of features, traction control for $8 grand. So a little bit more money, you get something with a lot of features. I've never had a Triumph. I don't know much about it. I had a BMW before. I had a Buell. I missed the sound of that Buell. It was nice sound. A Buell was a great bike, I thought. You know, you get the Harley motor I had a City 9X XB, a City 9XB, whatever, 9XBS, whatever. That was like a city bike, and great for carving your way through the city. I used it in LA to commute. Great bike. I don't think Buell could continue working with Harley, so they ditched him. And Buell's still making bikes, but now they're exorbitantly expensive. I mean, you're talking in a price range that just doesn't make sense. But as far as like the KLR, they had to update it. That's why they said, all right, let's stop making this bike and let's figure out what to do. And I think they did the right thing. I really do. I think they put some features on it that were very much needed, and they had no choice. And it brings up a point of how long can Suzuki and Honda continue with the bike they're doing? Because I wonder how much longer they can continue it. I don't think they can do it much longer. I think their days are numbered, because like for example, the Suzuki drz400 is much less horsepower than the KLR, only 30 horsepower. And there's other bikes now with a lot of features that come just a little bit more money, and you're going to get traction control, ABS, an advanced display, you know, something that'll pair with your phone, you know, like features that I don't think that new riders are going to go for that. You know, like you might have like an old rider that knows the DRZ. If they know the bike, of course, they're still going to have some die-hard buyers, but or let's say a younger guy and his dad had one and he knows the bike. You know, I know what this bike can do. I've ridden it. I know how to fix it. You know, I want one. that's the kind of buyers you're going to get. But as far as like new riders that have done their research, I don't see why they might read the reviews and understand what, but are they really going to go for a drz400 with 30 horsepower? I really don't think so. I mean, drz400 SM is an awesome selling bike too, but it's only 30 horsepower. I think people might be apt to step up to a Husqvarna or a KTM, or if they can't afford to spend that kind of money, maybe they'll go into a Triumph. You know, a little Triumph will be around the $8,000 level, depending on which bike you go with. So that's how things are going to lay out in the future. And I think eventually Suzuki is going to have to do something, because Suzuki had a nice run with the DRZ, but it's time now. You know, they're going to have to update the bike or discontinue it, you know. It's like Kawasaki did. They discontinued the bike and then revamped it and then relaunched it. And somehow they pulled it off, and they relaunched it the same price that it had before, which is insanity. It's crazy. They really pulled it off. That's just goes to show you how good Kawasaki is, because they actually launched it with the same price. Now Yamaha came out with the T700 that was launched in Europe first, but that's not a good bike, you know. Well, it wasn't a good bike when it first, because it wasn't available in the US. Now the T700, Tenere 700 is available here in the US, but when I asked the dealer about it, he said he would have to pay over the asking price to get that bike. So, and that's like around 14 grand for a Tenere 700. That's a big amount to go for. It's a decent bike. It has a lot of features, but again, oh, and I stopped here because I'm waiting for the rain to clear up a little bit. I have a waterproof jacket on. If I'm going at speed, the KLR keeps your legs dry. But I'm doing all city riding over into Brooklyn. I'm not going to have too much cover, so I want to see if this rain's going to let up. I figured I'd stop here and just stay out of the rain a little bit, and then I'll check on my phone. And I figured I'd stop the video too. But see what you guys think about Suzuki DRZ400, Suzuki DR650. What will they do to update these bikes? And would a new rider, that's what I'd be really interested in, would a new rider, because I know the experienced riders who've tried these bikes before, they have experience with enduros, they know what they're getting. They know they might be willing to spend $7 grand on a DRZ400 SM. But I don't know that a new young rider doing his research, looking for features, is going to go for a bike like the dash on the DRZ400 is from like 1980s. Like, it's even worse than this. It's like a square display, like it's got a clock, and man, it's like featureless, you know. I spruced this up by adding an LED behind here, because sometimes the light would go out from all the rough roads here, so I upgraded this to LED. I put a blue one in there. It makes it a little bit more modern looking, but it's still really old school. And I don't think a new rider buying a bike for $7 grand, I don't think they're gonna want, like, I can't imagine they would want something that can pair with their phone, maybe even have like some built-in diagnostics or something, you know, on the screen. That's going to be a must. And I don't think that whole idea of charging for features, like let's say you build the bike with a bunch of features, and then like Zero has features built in, but you have to pay to unlock them. That's not going to fly with people. they're buying the bike. They want to buy it with the features that come with it. So anyway, I'd love some input from people. Like, if you're a new rider, what bike did you happen upon? Where do you live? What city? Was it for city riding? Did you do your research? And did you end up? It'd be interesting to hear from people if you did actually end up on a DRZ. I know as a new rider that ends up on a KLR, I can understand that because the KLR has updated features. They've modernized the bike, and they didn't raise the price, so it's worth it. It's still old school, but they corrected like issues like carburetor, fuel injection, ABS, fuel gauge. You know, they took care of those things, and those are really helpful. But it would be interesting to hear from other riders if you happened on a drz400, what made you still go for it? You know, that would be interesting to hear. All right, everybody. See you on the next one.